That's not the face of someone who is unhappy that they blanked. He's not unhappy that he missed. He thinks she cheated. I am saying there's no middle ground. Like, there is no, like, she's so good at poker that she called. That's not what happened. No chance. All right, guys, we've got a crazy hand here that we're going to get into. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's enough to set the whole poker world on fire, so we're going to get into it. I don't have any reason to be talking about this other than it's so fucking popular right now. Everyone's talking about this hand. I've had multiple people tell me to look at this hand. But yeah, I don't know anything about either person involved in this hand. I don't know anything about the people playing it. I don't know anything about how they play poker. I don't know anything about their thought processes. I haven't done a bunch of research on this. I'm just going to react to how the hand plays out, and we're going to get into it and see what's up. So let's roll. Let's do this.
That was like one of his first TV appearances.
One of his first ones,
That's
yeah. That was
great.
like before he won all those tournaments. And,
Funny.
yeah.
Oh, wow, Robbi really mixing it up here, calling Garrett's raise with.
Okay, so she defends Jack 4 offsuit in the big blind. I think there's like a straddle. There's like 3 blinds and an ante, I think.
Jack 4 off.
It's probably still too wide. It's probably like Jack 7 is the bottom. But
Blind versus blind, and Garrett here has flopped a straight flush draw.
so the pot has 6.7 in it right now.
10-10-9 with a couple clubs. He's gonna bet 2,500.
So you see bets to a third. I mean, it's not, like 40, 35%, I guess. Yeah, this like 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush hand it's probably close-ish against 2,500.
I call.
Wow, and Robbie's gonna call here with.
I mean, against a small bet, it's not that crazy of a call. I mean, it's 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. It's not that crazy.
Jack 4 with the Jack of clubs. Turn is
It also matters that she has the heart too.
E3, puts backdoor hearts down. And this is usually when Garrett will lay the hammer down with combo draws. She's got one club and one.
So he bets 10 into 11.7. So he's betting close to PSB, like close to pot. So yeah, she's got a fold.
Heart, and wow, look at this. What is she thinking about here? Is she
20.
gonna raise?
So I mean, I think the flop was pretty standard. Like, I think pre-flop's probably a fold, but it's probably close-ish. I mean, I didn't pay that much attention. It looks like it's 100, 200, 400 with a 400 ante plus a 400 big blind ante. I don't know if that's from like each player, which would be fucking enormous. Probably not, right? But
That's it.
I think it's 100, 200, 400 plus a 400 ante in total. So like they're probably each paying 50 or something. I don't know how many there are. If there's 8 of them, but that would make sense.
We saw her raise ace king a little bit ago for a min raise. Here she's gonna min click. I think he's considering bet 3 betting, and yep, there's the.
His play seems standard. He bets a third on the flop, right? He bets like 35% on the flop. This board is bet small. He c-bets to 85% or whatever on the turn. That seems standard. She 2-bets small. It's not that crazy with like these suits, clubs and hearts. It's not that crazy with clubs and hearts. Like, it's not that crazy to like occasionally do some stupid shit like this. But it's probably bad. So
The all in. There's the all in. Garrett, like I said, he's just so experienced.
I do think her flop call's probably like fine though. Like, it's fine-ish at least. It's not crazy.
And bet patterns, bet sizing.
Adding 1 minute.
She's gonna put a time chip out.
She's gonna call, right? Of course she's gonna call. That's why the poker world's going nuts. She's gonna fucking call. Obviously she can't call. And the reason she can't call isn't for like some like crazy reason. She doesn't beat his bluffs. Like, even if she fucking knew, like even if she just knew that like when Garrett uses his left hand to put chips out, he's bluffing. Like something stupid, which I give Garrett more credit than that. But even if she fucking knew then that he was bluffing, she wouldn't know that her bluff beat his bluffs, right? Like, he could just be bluffing with like Jack 8 of hearts. He could just be bluffing with like Queen 8 of clubs. He could just be bluffing. Like, he's got a combo draw. So like, even if he's got like a shitty combo draw, like but it's only shitty from the perspective of having Jack of clubs 4, right? He's got a combo draw, so he could have combo draws. Like, right? Like, let's say she knew that he had a combo draw. Well, that would be like 7-8 of clubs, 7-6 of clubs, 7-8 of clubs. Sorry, 7-8 of hearts, 7-6 of hearts, 8-6 of hearts, 8-6 of clubs. But then it would also mean, which are all hands she beats, fair enough. But then that would also mean like Jack 8 of clubs, which she blocks, Jack 8 of hearts, Queen 8 of hearts, Queen 8 of clubs, potentially like king jacks and king queens of hearts and clubs. The thing is too, right? He raised the small blind. When people raise the small blind, that's a linear range. So you don't raise the small blind with like a polar range. You don't raise the small blind with like 6-2 off or something, or even like 6-2 suited. Really, you raise the small blind more linearly. It's more like queen eights, queen nines, queen tens, queen jacks, like those types of hands, like decent suited hands, like 7-8 of clubs, like his play standard. But this is how you raise the small blind. You raise the small blind in a linear, like a relatively linear way. It's not polar, so it's not like the nuts or air, which would kind of make this like a bluff catching type of hand pre-flop, I guess. But yeah, his range is linear, and because his range is linear, a lot of his bluffs could just be like queen jack of diamonds maybe, or like king jack of diamonds or something, or king, like if he's going fucking nuts. So like if she knew he was going nuts, he would still probably be going nuts with stuff that beats jack 4 with the jack of clubs. That's why she can't call. She can't call because she loses to his bluffs. And I don't think he would ever go nuts with king jack of diamonds here, by the way. I'm just pointing out, like, even if she like soul reads him and she's like, you're going fucking bonkers, it's like, yeah, but he's probably going bonkers with shit that, like, even if you're right about that, he might be going bonkers with stuff that beats this.
You shouldn't be in hands like this.
Her odds aren't that good against this jam.
She doesn't have a 3.
It's 109 over 270.
I call.
She calls?
I mean, of course she fucking calls. That's why the poker world's on fire. Sorry, guys. I just fucked this. But 109 over 270. Yeah, 40% equity. She needs 40% to call. No fucking shot.
I prefer once, but it's up to you. Yikes.
Oh my god.
Let's see the hand. So far, so good. It looks
Love
like
it.
you're ahead.
What is going on
Prefer
here?
once, but it's
So, yeah, I mean, she can't call. Her hand loses to all Garrett's bluffs. Like, not all, but she beats this one. So not all, but her hand loses to a lot of Garrett's bluffs in this situation. She needs 40% equity to call, which is what I thought it was. So she's not getting a good price. Like, she can't just call because, like, she doesn't have a draw. Like, she can't, like, it's not fucking remotely close. The only way that, so, like, but this is still binary, right? Like, I think that it's, like, obviously I know that, I don't know anything about this, but I know that she's gonna fucking call. Like, I knew she was gonna call. And people are saying that, like, I know that people are accusing her of cheating. I know that, I understand that. I've seen that. So the issue with saying she's cheating is, like, she could go in, like, two directions, right? Either she's, like, the worst punter ever, which we all want in our games, which is fucking, those people exist. I've played with people who call the river with, like, 9 high when, like, I've called with people you've played, like, lots of us have played against people who just don't understand the rules of the game. And then they make terrible plays. If she's that player, that's possible, right? She could be that player. And then this makes sense. Like, it makes sense in the context of someone who doesn't know anything about the game and just plays like shit. Or she knows a lot about how the game is supposed to be played. And she's cheating. There's no middle ground, though, where she's, like, a really good player and she owns him. I just want that to be clear. Like, there is no, like, I'm not gonna say she's cheating because she could just suck. I don't know anything about her, so she could just suck and I wouldn't know, right? So I'm not gonna say she's cheating. She could just be total shit at the game, or she could be cheating. If you ask me to rank it mathematically, I would say it's more likely she sucks. Why? I think cheating is really rare. I think cheating on TV is really rare. I think sucking is really common. Like, I've been playing poker for a long time. It's way easier to just be so shit at the game. It's way easier to just suck than it is to cheat. So I would say, like, without knowing anything about the situation, statistically speaking, she's cheating. Or, fuck. Statistically speaking, she sucks at the game. That's just, like, the way that I should bet.
Is it possible that her hand might be misread in the card graphics or something?
Because I was shitty hand.
you do? Yikes.
No, I just thought this is a pure bluff catcher I'm dealing with.
Okay, so I'm just going to explain what that means. She says she has a bluff catcher, but she doesn't actually have a bluff catcher. A bluff catcher means you have a hand that beats your opponent's bluffs. Like, usually when we say that, we mean it in, like, a relatively clean way. Like, you have a hand that beats all of your opponent's bluffs, or you have a hand, like, you have a hand that beats your opponent's bluffs, but nothing else. That's what a bluff catcher is. So a hand like a bluff catcher here would be like ace-3. Like, maybe you call the flop with, like, ace-3, ace of clubs. That seems reasonably standard. You call the pre-flop raise with ace-3 of clubs, ace-3, ace of clubs, like ace-3 offsuit, ace of clubs. You call the pre-flop raise, standard. Her play is a little bit more speculative, but it's not bad. Like, it's bad probably, but it's not crazy. Like, the antes might be, or, like, this seems like 100, 200, 400. You know, I haven't studied a lot of, like, 3 blind games plus a pot size. Plus a big blind sized ante. But so, like, this is like a wide range game. Like, this is a wide range game. It's blind versus blind. She called with Jack 4. I don't know exactly how big he made it pre-flop. I don't know if he 5x'd it. I didn't pay that much attention. But her pre-flop play is like not that nuts. It's really not that nuts. Like, it's not perfect, maybe, but it's not like holy shit. Like, there's a fucking, it's a 100, 200, 400 with a 400 ante. So yeah, like you're and it's BBB. Like, you're gonna have really wide ranges. Her flop call's standard, in my opinion, like borderline standard at least. Against Garrett's bet size, like it's 3 to a straight, 3 to a flush. Seems fine. Like the flop plays, like it's definitely defensible. There's lots of players that would make that call. Again, it's not like I know these ranges very well, but I would assume that the pre-flop play is reasonable. I would assume the flop play is reasonable. The turn race is probably batshit insane. Like bad, basically. Obviously, the call it can't be good. The call can't be good, and she doesn't have a bluff catcher. She doesn't beat all his bluffs. His bluffs are like, you know, king, queen. Like, again, ace-3 is a bluff catcher because if your opponent's bluffing with king, queen, or king, jack, or queen, jack, or queen, 8, or jack, 8, or and club variations within there, ace-3 wins against all that stuff, right? You know, if she had like ace-king even with the ace of clubs and she was making a move, that's a bluff catcher, right? You would beat all of his bluffs, right? You know, she should probably re-raise. Maybe like a more reasonable hand. Maybe it's like ace-jack pre-flop, right? Maybe she calls pre-flop with ace-jack. Maybe she has like ace-jack, jack of clubs. So we'll keep her with the jack of clubs, right? Maybe she thinks her 4s is an ace. So maybe she has like ace-jack, jack of clubs. She calls pre-flop, standard. She calls the flop, standard. The guy barrels the turn. She should just call again or fold potentially. But she decides to raise because she sucks. It's fine. And then he jams, and now she has a bluff catcher. Those are all examples of bluff catchers. Jack 4 is not a bluff catcher because you lose to too many of his bluffs.
Jack.
So if he's bluffing, you still don't win.
But yeah, I think he has to beat.
We'll go to the river. The river is a 9.
That one's you for sure.
They're gonna run it
Unless you have, like,
twice,
pocket 5
I
and
don't think so.
she's
You have,
gonna.
like, small pair?
You give me that much credit?
I don't know.
Haven't you seen what
She's
I've done?
good with the first one.
Let's turn him over. You're already not that. Oh. No.
If the cards are correct.
What a sick call.
And the river breaks out again.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Wow.
I want to see. Does she have?
How many times are you going to let me do this to you? So I don't know if she's done this before. Like, maybe she plays this way all the time. She's just said, I don't know how many times you're going to let me do this to you.
Jack 4?
She had 4 jack high?
What?
Whoa!
Look at
So that's not the face of someone who is unhappy that they blanked. Like, he didn't look at like, he's not unhappy that he missed. Wow, he's like, that was so fast. He thinks she cheated.
Whoa, look at Garrett's face. That's
some fucking poker right there.
That was sick.
Wow. That's strong.
That was sick.
They're all on a different level.
that is super strange. You can see his reaction.
Ivy hasn't said anything either. I mean, I saw that Ivy was at the table, right? I haven't heard his voice either. All the other guys don't know what the fuck's going on. This dude's not trying to figure out. This dude's not like unhappy that he blanked a draw. This is a dude who's like trying to calculate like, how did I just get fucking cheated?
Like, what is what?
Ma'am?
What?
Very nice to be
You fucking stupid.
Jacob, you look like you want to kill me. I'm not Jacob. I'm like, you look like you want to kill me,
He
Jared.
wants to vomit.
I was not in the hand. I want to vomit.
Wow.
This is.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I mean, usually Garrett would be fairly congratulatory if somebody made a hero call.
Yeah, this dude's trying to figure out if he got it seems like he's already convinced that he thinks she's cheating. I don't know anything about it. I've never seen his face before in a game. I don't watch him play. I don't watch poker on TV. But this dude's trying to figure out how he just got cheated.
Like that, but
Again, I'm not saying I think she cheated. I'm just saying she could go in either of one of two directions. It's not a hero call. Like, it's not. Again, I want to make it very clear that while I'm not saying she's cheating, I am saying there's no middle ground. Like, there is no like she's so good at poker that she called. That's not what happened. No chance. She loses to all of his. She loses to way too many of his bluffs. Not all of his bluffs. Again, she beats 7-8 of clubs. So but she loses to too many of his bluffs. So this is like she's total batshit insane. She plays like this all the time. That's her profile. You're really lucky that she's playing with you tonight. You probably play as many hands with her as possible, and you move on. Or she's cheating. It's binary. I really don't believe there's a middle ground, because like nobody who has any kind of understanding of how the game works would call with her hand. She blocks the bluffs too, right? She blocks like she blocks any kind of 4x of hearts flush draws that he could have for jamming the turn. She blocks, if you have a bluff catcher and you're hoping that he has, if you have a bluff catcher and then you want him to have bluffs, that's what a bluff catcher means. When you have a bluff catcher, you're calling, if you're going to call, hoping your opponent has a bluff. One of the primary characteristics about a bluff catcher, is you don't want to use bluff catchers that block your opponent's bluffs. She has the jack of clubs and the 4 of hearts on a board that has 2 clubs and 2 hearts on it. So she has it's not a bluff catcher, but she's called it that. So she has a bluff catcher that blocks the most likely bluffing targets, which makes it very poor. So yeah, she doesn't have a bluff catcher. First of all, she doesn't have a bluff catcher because she doesn't beat his bluffs. Second, she just has trash. Like there's a difference. Like there are hand classes in No Limit Hold'em, right? Like there's pairs, right? Like we have bluff catchers, like hands that the poker community calls bluff catchers. And in this situation, Jack 4 wouldn't be one of them. Ace King with the Ace of Clubs would be one of them, or Ace Jack with the Ace of Clubs or Jack of Clubs, that would be one of them. Or Ace 3, that would be maybe one of them that she could maybe show up with. But even like King Queen could be one of them. If she did this with like King Queen of Diamonds, that could be one of them. But Jack of Clubs, 4 of Hearts is like, to call that a bluff catcher is like not to do a bluff catcher service, like the proper dignity, and that has the wrong characteristics because you block the bluffs.
Blocker to the straight
He
flush.
seems somewhat disturbed here.
Yeah, he's definitely it's pretty
What
obvious
just
he thinks she cheated.
happened? I don't.
Call of the year right there.
It's testing.
It's literally like the sort of most disturbed look that I've ever seen Garrett give.
I bet if we took it like a thermometer of like how hot this dude is right now, I bet he's a fucking million degrees. He looks like he's about to blow up. Dude looks like he's sweating in that fucking shirt right now.
What happened? 10,000, win range 20, shove, call.
And obviously the reason why he would be that is how can she call?
I remember.
Like maybe he thinks that she saw his hand somehow, or
The issue I think though is that everyone has this like recency bias with like Postle in that whole episode. I have no idea what happened with that and how it ended, but now everyone's like seen what this like kind of means. And this like the issue that I take with that is that there's like maybe a little bit of recency bias there to just like throw your hands up and be like, oh, she's cheating. She could also just suck. But what she can't be is very good and make this call.
I don't know.
Nothing. I think nothing happened.
The flop goes bet call. The turn goes bet raise shove call.
Oh, like what? What do you mean, like wait?
128.3.
bet, 20,000 mini raise.
No, before the flop.
Before the flop. Before the flop.
128.3.
I think it was a. I
This is
think
the
it was
weirdest fucking I've ever seen.
$2,500.
Oh, look
I
at
don't
that.
understand sort of what's happening right now.
Andy.
This is a new pot, right?
If my jack was in a club, I would have been out.
I don't know if she's talking about the flop, but her jack being a club was a good thing on the turn. No, jack of clubs is a bad thing on the turn. I mean, it's good, I guess, if you...
What do you mean if your jack wasn't a club?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, blocker.
You know you've let me do this to you several times now.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what this means. You've let me do this to you several times now. She's kind of hinted at this before. Like, this is the second statement she's made. That's kind of like this one.
I don't know what just happened.
I'm just
Like, so if she plays this way all the time, then like she plays this way all the time. I don't know.
testing it.
Yeah.
And
This
you just
doesn't
keep
seem super
letting me
funny
do
to
this,
me.
and
You keep letting me do this. What was that she said just before that?
Doesn't
keep
seem super
letting
funny
do
to
this,
me.
And I know you've let me do this to you several times now.
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened.
I'm just testing it.
Yeah.
I'm just testing it.
And
This
you just
doesn't
keep
seem super
letting me
funny
do
to
this,
me.
And you keep letting me do this.
And I,
Honestly,
no,
at all,
like
but
when
how
you
much
bet
money
when
is
you bet that like high big
Yeah.
stack, why do you think I want to
I
run
don't
it
need to
twice?
say.
When you bet that high big stack, Why do you think I want to run it twice?
I thought you were on ace high.
I thought you were on ace high, but you called with jack high.
Ace high.
And then
But you called with jack high.
and so why call with jack high then?
First of all, a little bit of a straight draw, like a blocker or something.
No, on the turn though.
Yeah, obviously he doesn't give a shit about the flop. You have 3 to a straight and 3 to a flush. The flop's fine.
So you called all in on the turn because
Yeah, because you don't have
Because you don't have shit.
shit.
Well, he had 7-8 of clubs, actually, so he had a fucking monstrous hand. Like, that's a very big draw. It's not like he doesn't have shit. It's not like he's like... It's not like he has jack 4 of clubs, like jack 4 with the jack of clubs and the 4 of hearts, right? He has 7-8 of clubs. Like, he has a fucking combo draw. He has an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw. Like, when he's playing his hand, he's kind of feeling like, I have the nuts. Like, that's what that hand feels like. I don't know if you guys are, you know, I'm sure lots of you have played No Limit. When you have 7-8 of clubs on 10, a board with a 10 and a 9 and 2 clubs, you kind of feel like, my hand's really fucking good, especially if you're blind versus blind. Like, you feel like, oh shit, here we go. Like, I'm about to make some money. Like, that's what he had. He had, like, whatever he would have been giving off, it would have been strong fucking BDE. Like, he would have been giving off some strong energy. Like, this hand's the nuts. I don't know what she's talking about.
That's right. She
You don't
thinks you
have
can't beat a
shit.
jack.
This dude doesn't know shit. This dude should just shut the fuck up.
High.
It's not about what
Like, he's trying to, like, I don't know what he's trying to do.
I have. It's about what I don't think you have.
It's not about what I have. It's about what I don't think you have. I mean, he could just have Queen 8 of clubs, Queen 8 of hearts.
When you play against me, that's
You
it.
didn't think you had jack.
But she doesn't talk like a pro. So like I said, if she just plays like shit all the time, like then she just plays like shit all the time. I've played with lots of people who call with like the fucking. I've played with people who have called with the nut low on the river because they just don't get the game. And like if that's what she's doing, like then that's what she's doing.
Queen of clubs.
75.
Like this dude's hilarious.
You let
This dude deserves a medal.
me do this to you post stream too. Last time we played.
Yeah.
What's that?
You let me do this to you post stream
You let me do this to you post stream too.
too. Last time we played.
Last time we played. You let me do this to you post stream too. Last time we played. Like, it sounds like she's trying to suggest that she makes these types of calls all the time. And that, if that's the case, I don't know why he's so pissed.
Yeah.
They keep letting me.
Okay, 50. 75.
But he's like, look at that face. That's the fucking, get me the floor tape. I want to see this shit. Get me the floor tape so that I can see if she looked at anything before the hand started. And then you have to go through like every single hand she played. And I think that as him, you have to basically make a judgment call right now. Either she's the worst player ever and you just play as many hands as you can, or she's cheating and you have to quit. And I think that if you think she's cheating, you should just quit, because I think that sends the strongest signal that she's cheating. Okay, so that was like a fucking crazy ass hand. Yeah, without knowing it, like how she plays, I can't say that she's cheating. I can only say that I think that it kind of sharply forks in two directions. I think it's binary. I think she's like terrible player who like does this kind of thing all the time, and like then you have a profile of that's her behavior, in which case you'll find out by just like going through her playing history, or she's cheating. I don't think that she's like a good player who owned him. That's just not a thing. Like that's not like, because her bluff catcher loses to a large fraction of his bluffs. So a good player you can't call there just because, yeah, that's why. So it's very binary. Hopefully I do think probabilistically she's not cheating, because I think it's more likely that she just total shit without knowing anything about her. So, right? So like, I think it's more likely that someone's total shit than someone's cheating on a live stream. So I think statistically speaking, it's better to assume, and I think statistically speaking, it's better for the poker world to assume that she's not cheating. But I think as Garrett, you do a bunch of research and figure it out. So, because it's worth 6 figures to you. So you figure it out. I think Hustler also needs to figure it out, because Hustler's reputation is being put at risk if Garrett thinks she's cheating. Because when Garrett thinks she's cheating, that means that someone can cheat in this game. So I think that Hustler needs to investigate whether or not she's cheating. I think Garrett should investigate whether or not she's cheating. I think the poker world should assume she's not cheating until an investigation is done. I do think an investigation is. I think it's I think that when I say an investigation should be done, I don't mean like, call the police. Like, what I mean by an investigation being done is different. You have two parties with money at risk, right? Garrett and Hustler. Hustler has the reputation at risk, which is worth way more money than was in play in this game, and Garrett has his money at risk, right? Like he just lost that huge pot. So both of those two should do their own investigation and their own research. And then, if Garrett's research comes up with a bunch of nefarious activity and things that he can prove, then we should reconsider as a community. And the same thing I think can be said if for Hustler, like they should do their own research, and if they find out that she's cheating, they'll handle it accordingly. They don't need us probably to deal with it. Garrett might want more public pressure on her. But I don't think it's good for me to sit here and be like, oh, she's cheating for sure. She could just suck. So I don't spend my time watching all of these, so I don't know how she plays generally speaking. Other people are probably more qualified, but it was an interesting hand, and it definitely sucks for Garrett. But it's really good for her. Her hand is perfect against 70 of clubs. I mean, if you have, it's hard, it's a great hand to call with against 70 of clubs. If your opponent has 70 of clubs and you have the jack of clubs, it's a fucking gin setup for you. You block his straight drawouts, you block his flush drawouts, but you can't call the turn, right? So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.